Mr. President, our nation is nearly $30 trillion in debt. That's $233,000 in debt for every American family.
It's not in order.
The Senate will come to order.
Thank you, Senator Carper. The American people are already feeling the pressure of rising inflation thanks to reckless government spending. And make no mistake about it, inflation is a tax that hurts our families on low and fixed incomes the most. I'm hearing it from families across Florida who are worried. I heard from a dad in Jacksonville with 3 kids who's helping to temporarily take care of 2 other kids because their father's out of work. As a result of having 5 kids in his home, he has started working a second job to pay for all the groceries that are rapidly increasing price. His second job is driving Uber, and that is less and less profitable by the day because of the rising price of gas. Over the weekend, the suspension on the federal debt ceiling expired. That leaves Congress with 2 choices: continue this reckless, wasteful spending with no accountability to the American people, or start making the tough choices to put our nation on a successful path. I know we can make the right choices and start moving America in a better direction. That's exactly what I did when I was governor of Florida. Our state was on a bad path. I had to make difficult choices, but I paid down 1/3 of state debt, all while cutting taxes 100 times. It can be done. Washington's choice to keep raising and suspending the debt ceiling is like raising the limit on your credit card month after month with absolutely no plan to pay it off. It's irresponsible, and it's no way to operate. You would never run your business or family the way Washington runs. It's wasteful and dysfunctional. I came to Washington to rein in this exact type of dysfunction. We have to get our debt and spending under control. We need to make Washington work for families in Florida and all across the nation. That's why I'm leading my colleagues in a proposed rule change that would require every piece of legislation
The Senate will come to order.
passed by a Senate committee to include a report on how it will impact inflation. It's very simple. When legislation directly or indirectly raises the cost of living or raises taxes on American families, families deserve to know. Too many in Washington believe the lie that inflation is impossible, debt doesn't matter, and spending has no consequences. That's why this rule change is needed. This rule change is to protect that father in Jacksonville who is struggling to get by. It should protect those living on fixed incomes, low-income earners, and small businesses who can't absorb cost increases. I ask unanimous consent that the Rules Committee be discharged from further consideration and the Senate now proceed to Senate Resolution 327. I ask unanimous consent that the resolution be agreed to, the preamble be agreed to, and that the motions to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table.
Is there objection?
Mr. President, reserving the right to object.
The Majority Whip.
I rise in opposition to this unanimous.
Senate's not in order.
Come to order.
I rise in opposition to the unanimous consent request from the senator from Florida. The amendment before us would change the standing rules of the Senate and require additional reporting requirements regarding inflation, a change which would substantially increase the administrative burden on committees and staff and the process on the floor. We already have significant tools at our disposal to evaluate economic indicators. We have economists at the Department of Labor, Treasury Department, Congressional Budget Office, Federal Reserve, and other federal offices, regularly consulting with Congress on issues about inflation and other economic indicators. This is totally unnecessary. For these reasons, I oppose this resolution and the request for unanimous consent. I object.
The objection is heard. Senator from Florida.
Mr. President, while I'm disappointed that my colleague won't accept this measure, we do need to start doing something about inflation, and we can do that today with the infrastructure spending bill. We can all get behind real infrastructure like roads, bridges, airports, and seaports, but we have to acknowledge that $1.2 trillion is a massive amount of taxpayer dollars. And we have to know exactly how this will impact families. I've been told by supporters of this infrastructure bill that it will not cause inflation. I will not support anything that increases inflation on American families. I have an amendment to the infrastructure package that will require the Congressional Budget Office to certify that the spending in this bill will not increase inflation on the American people. If CBO does not certify that the spending authorized and appropriated in the bill would not increase inflation, my amendment would prohibit the funding from being obligated or spent, and the funds would instead be transferred to the Treasury Department for deficit reduction. I hope everybody will get behind this amendment. Thank you.
Is there time in opposition? Time is yielded back. The question is on the amendment. Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Baldwin.